Alright guys, so now before we get started on the shading here, I just want to go over sort of the mechanics of the actual cartridge and the machine, right? So as the one thing that we have to understand is that as we shade, we're not gonna just kind of, just go boom, 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 like a little kid scribbling a crayon, right? We gotta be intentional with every stroke, because one, we gotta realize we're not, we're not drawing on paper here. We're going over live, real, like obviously this is fake skin, but you want to train yourself to the point where you can shade and understand the threshold of human skin and how many times we can go over a certain area, right? So you want to develop that skill. And the way to do that is to obviously understand the mechanics of the whole process of tattooing. All right, so if you're making these, unpredictable, like crazy motions, and like, if your hand speed is too fast, what's happening is the needle is unable to penetrate the skin, right? So you're making all these like fast motions and crazy marks in like different directions, right? You're not going to be able to get that smooth transition or the smooth shade feather effect that we're going for here. Again, that's because every stroke has to be with intention, nice and slow, smooth, right? Consistent direction, right? We're not like a little kid using crayon, right? We're not going like this, just trying to fill up the area, right? Every stroke is with intention, nice and slow, right? We're taking our time. We gotta let the machine do its job. You know what I mean? We gotta let the machine do its job. We gotta let the machine. So what we're doing, we're just kind of just moving your hands slowly in a consistent motion. You know what I mean? So yeah, so before we start shading, that's pretty much what I want you to understand. I want you to understand the whole mechanics of how your cartridge and your machine is pushing the ink into the skin. Yeah.
All right, so in our previous video, we went over how to shade using regular curved mags. I used a 7, 13, and a 23. If you haven't checked out that video yet on how to get this gradient, smooth gradient, make sure to go check that out. We're gonna go over shading using liners. Now there's 3 ways you can shade using a liner, and I'm gonna go over that shortly. So before we do that, I made these guidelines here. So I'm gonna be shading within these lines here, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna divide these guidelines into thirds as my dark, mid-tone to light. So again, we're gonna try to, just like we did here, right? We divided it in 3 using the 7 mag, 13 curve mag, and a 23 curve mag. We divided it in 3 in a manner that we're unable to see where each of the sections begin or end, right? We want that smooth transition, so we want to go from dark, mid-tone to light, dark, mid-tone to light, dark, mid-tone to light. All right, so the first way, I'm gonna show you how to shade using a liner is a technique called feathering. Now you can use a pendulum motion like I was showing you guys earlier, but so yeah, this is pretty much self-explanatory, right? We're just gonna feather the needle out, right? We're just gonna start here. We are gonna start off with the black, our darkest tone, right out here. So we're really gonna like dig in a little bit harder, right? Not too much. Again, we're not just going like this, going all crazy, right? Because we gotta let the needle do the work, right? Because there's a needle penetrating. You gotta let that needle penetrate. If you're just moving it around so fast, the needle's not gonna be able to penetrate itself in order to make an impression with the ink. So let's start off with the darkest tone here. start off with the guideline here. And just feathering it out. Now, see how tight I'm being? You really want to develop that skill of being able to lay those lines right beside each other. You know what I mean? Bam, bam. It's honestly the best way to get a nice, consistent, smooth gradient. Let's erase that. And look, nothing. Alright. Sometimes you can slow it down, slow the hand motion down. Like I said earlier, right? Let the machine do the work. Let your tools do the work. Your hand is just guiding it. Yeah, we really want it dark, so we're gonna slow the hand down so we let the needle penetrate. Alright, so now I got the darks in there. I don't know if you can see that here. So I feathered it out past this line right here. That's what I want to do. So feathering, this is really good for you, you know, cosmetic tattoo artists, you know, tattooists or whatever, the ones that do makeup, you know. This is where I see this technique being utilized. I mean, there are a lot of people that shade using 3-round liners, even, you know, things bigger than that, but like everybody has their own techniques, but using shading with liners, I would mostly see it in like cosmetic, or like there's a lot of black and gray artists that do that too, but honestly, if I have mags at my disposal, I'm probably gonna go with that, you know what I mean? But yeah, so now I have this the darks in. Now I'm gonna start throwing in my mid-tone here. So pretty much gonna use the same technique, just kind of feathering it out, you know what I mean? Dragging it in. You're gonna pull it from the previous section, past the previous section, and just kind of, you know, stack the lines, stack them, keep them close, nice and close together, right? And I'm using a pendulum motion here, right? You gotta think of it as, you know, what I always say, like an airplane, you know what I mean? You want the needle to come in, drag, and fly out. It's like an airplane, you know, it's landing and then taking off. There's no abrupt like bam, you know what I mean? It's not going in there. So really develop that pendulum motion with your wrist and your hand there. It's kind of like this. And really just take your time, you know? It's all about like taking time, you know? Again, because you want to let the machine do the work. Let the machine do its job. You know, have some patience. Alright, now that we have our mid-tone down, it's time to lay down the lighter tones. Now remember, it's the same thing, you know, just kind of, I'm gonna start from the previous section out here and drag the tone out. And it's the same motion. I'm stacking those lines right on top of each other, side by side. Keeping it nice and tight. Starting from the previous section, dragging it out. Just like a printer going back and forth, back and forth. Alright guys, so there you have it. So yeah, you can see the complete gradient, right? You can't really tell where one section begins or ends, right? I think this part will be dark, and then we have the midtones here, and then we have the light, right? So yeah, it's just one consistent gradient, and that's what we're kind of looking for, okay? So yeah, there you have it. That's one out of the 3 ways I think that are best to shade using a liner. Now again, this technique is mostly going to be used with like cosmetic artists and stuff like that. If I were to shade, I would